Welcome to Banned Books Week, celebrating the freedom to read. Welcome to Book Your Imagination. My name is Anne. This is the first video in my series to celebrate Banned Books Week. This is one of my favorite series to do every year. I used to think that banning books and censorship was a thing of the past, that it was something that was done by the ignorant and unenlightened 19th century people and not by enlightened 20th and 21st century people. It wasn't until I started this channel that I realized how wrong I was. Banning, challenging, censorship is still a huge problem today. So in this first video, I'm going to talk about the First Amendment, what freedom of speech is and isn't. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you a pop quiz to see how well I've explained it and how well you've understood it. Freedom of speech is one of the core tenets of the United States. It is the First Amendment to the Constitution, and there's a reason why it's the first. It's not the second, the third, the fourth, or any other. It is the First Amendment because it is so important. Specifically, the First Amendment reads, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. This one sentence granted us the freedom of religion, press, speech, petition, and assembly. For this video, I'm only going to focus on freedom of speech. Over the years, the courts have divided freedom of speech into three different categories. The first of these is called pure speech, and it is the most strongly protected. Pure speech is written or verbal expression of thoughts or ideas before a voluntary audience. When you buy a book or you check out a book at the library, the book itself is the expression of thoughts and ideas. You are the voluntary audience. Even if your school says you must read this book, you're still a voluntary audience. The second category is called speech plus. Speech plus some type of action. Think of a rally or a protest, for example. You are peaceably assembling, you're holding up a sign that says, "This is unacceptable," and you're chanting some slogan. It's possible because of the First Amendment. The third category is called symbolic speech, and that is where a symbol represents some form of expression. For example, the pink ribbons that people wear for breast cancer awareness, a cross or a crucifix, a yarmulke, a hijab, or, as I've mentioned in the past several years, an athlete who kneels during the national anthem. These are all symbols that mean something, that express some point of view. However, in spite of all of the freedoms that we have to express ourselves, not all speech is protected. The government can and does restrict some levels of speech. Here are the things that are not protected under our First Amendment rights. When we talk about freedom of speech, we most often think about the person who is expressing their speech, the creator of whatever it happens to be. But I want you to think about the voluntary audience, because that is just as important. When you read a book, when you listen to a podcast, when you go to the movies, even when you scroll through your Instagram feed or you watch a YouTube video, you are the voluntary audience. And you're the benefit of this First Amendment. But, and there's always a but, isn't there? I want to separate censorship and freedom of speech because they are two separate things. Freedom of speech prevents the government, and the government only, from infringing on your freedom of speech. Any private or public organization, any non-governmental organization can censor you. They can tell you what to wear, how to behave, what you can say and what you can't say, and that is not violating your freedom of speech. So that's a lot to take in. So I'm going to give you a pop quiz now, some questions based on today's headlines, and ask you whether it is censorship or a violation of your First Amendment right. Question 1. A priest in Nashville has removed all copies of Harry Potter from the parish school's library. A. Is this censorship? B. Is it a violation of the First Amendment? A, yes, this is censorship, and B, no, it's not a First Amendment violation because the parish school is a private school. It is not a government agency. Therefore, they can legally pull out all the copies of Harry Potter so that the students don't have access to them. I'm going to be talking about this more in detail in the next video. Question 2. A man in Iowa checked out 4 LGBTQ books from the library's children's section and he burned all 4 of them. He was arrested for criminal mischief. He wanted the charges dismissed because he said burning the books is his First Amendment right to expression. A, is this censorship? And B, is this a violation of his First Amendment rights? No, it's not censorship, and B, no, it's not a violation of his First Amendment rights. He wasn't arrested because he burned the books. He was arrested because he burned books that didn't belong to him. So now, question 3, let's take the same man. Let's say he bought the 4 LGBTQ books, and then he burned them, and he was arrested. A, is this censorship? And B, is it a violation of his First Amendment rights? Again, it depends on why he was arrested, but let's assume that he didn't violate any fire safety laws and he was arrested for burning the books. Then yes, this would be censorship, and yes, it would be a violation of his First Amendment rights. Words and actions are important. Now, people say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and that is true, but I believe that words are the most powerful weapon in the world. Books have the ability to change lives, to make us think about things we hadn't thought about before. They can make us feel uncomfortable as well, and they present ideas that may be different from our own. Challenging or banning a book is an attempt to restrict ideas, and that's why we celebrate Banned Books Week, to bring awareness to this. As always, this is #JMO, just my opinion. If you like what you see in here, please consider subscribing to my channel, give it a thumbs up, and leave me a comment below. And I will see you for the next Banned Books Week video. Thank you for watching.